and a good evening, everyone. I hope that you're all well and good. I'm Alan Crooks, the owner of White Dragon Miniatures. So it's great to have you come join me for a little bit of live streaming. This one's a little bit different. I'm at my computer today, so we're going to be having a little go at cutting some heads off some digital models. It's all part of the new format of the models. Okay, let's see what's happening then. So we can jump on over to let's just have a look. Doesn't look like is Facebook streaming. Oh, you gotta love live streaming. Oh, what's happening then? Oh yeah, that is working. It was just the so the video thing over to right, let's jump in here so we can see if anybody posts any comments. Like I tell you what, live streaming is streaming difficult. Let's just put it that way. Live streaming. There's a lot to it. I have been stressing for like the last 2 hours. So yeah, let's jump on into the application. I don't know how running this on the PC I'm streaming from will affect the stream performance. That's it. But I'm putting things in place to offload that from the computer. So let's just put it that way. Live streaming. There's a lot to it. I have been stressing for like the last 2 hours streaming setup, which I'm really let's jump on into the application. I don't know how to get running this, so I'm going to jump into the application and show you that. The stream performance. That's it. Okay, so what you'll see is just live streaming. Offload the little application. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot to it. I have been stressing for this different streaming setup. So yeah, let's jump on. I was going to link off my camera. I don't know how to get running this, so I'm going to jump into the application and show you that. The stream performance. Okay, so what you'll see is just like giving this a go. Offload for the first time. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot to it. I have been stressing for this different streaming setup. So yeah, let's jump on. I was going to link off my camera. I don't know how to get running this, so I'm going to jump into the application and show you that. The stream performance. Okay, so what you'll see is just like thanks for joining. Offload for the first time. Let's just put it that way. Two of me. There's a lot to it. I have been stressing for this different streaming setup. So yeah, I know there's I was going to see a delay camera. I don't know how to get running this, so I'm going to jump into the application. I'll have to check the collection. I don't have many. What you'll see is just like thanks for joining. I've got some for sale down at you. Let's just come in a nice carrier case. Two of me. There's a lot to it. I have been stressing out this different streaming setup. So yeah, I know there's I was a delay camera. I don't know how to get running this, so I'm going to jump into the application. I'll have to check the collection. I don't have many fashion. What you'll see is just like thanks for joining. I've got some for sale down at you. Let's just come in a nice carrier case. Two of me. There's a lot to it. I have been stressing out this streaming setup. So yeah, I know I was some audio. I don't know how. Is that better? Hopefully that's sorted it. Let me know, Scott, if that's sorted it all right. We'll see how we get on. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, we're going to look to make a split line around the body armor and the head and separate that. And the reason for that is so that then we can keep the same body but then have the 3 different head variants with this. Okay, great. Thanks, Scott. I tell you, it's all a learning process. This is only my 3rd episode, first one at the computer, and I've had a stressful 2 hours trying to get something sorted. For some reason, I have no idea why, some software was automatically pressing shift key down, so everything I was doing, like on this, when you press shift in this application, it enables precise mode. So you can see I'm moving quite far, but it moves very, very slowly. And so it's just like permanently doing that and stuff. So yeah, that was quite emotional. Yeah, I'm in Sculpt. Jeff is, Geomagic Sculpt. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, so this is currently a mesh. You've got different types. By the way, I will just let you know, I am not like a pro at this or anything. I am as amateur as it can be. So the descriptions I kind of give won't be great, but one of the great things with this application is you work with clay. This application originally predates everything of ZBrush, and so the kind of voxel version of the clay is, for its time, is fantastic. People love ZBrush. So you see it goes from a purple kind of colour to a nice, I don't even know, bone colour, ivory colour. And this is to indicate that it's now a clay material. And working with clay is great fun. A really, really good little laugh. So what we're going to do is, there's quite a bit of back and forth in this procedure. Like I say, I'm not a pro within this, so I don't know if there is a better way of kind of doing this, but from what I've kind of been playing around with is take a chunk off, carve it back, and then just keep kind of backwards and forwards in between the 2 parts. So you'll see what I get on with here. Okay, so we're just going to set the clay coarseness within this. And that's going to be down to that, and then click apply. Okay, so there is our model all prepped and ready. Okay, so we're now ready to rock on. So the first thing we're going to do is select the clay. Now this brings up a nice big selection. So what I want to do is just basically select this whole top half of the head. And then that should then highlight it. There we go. And then we get some little options, which you probably can't see because they're just behind my head. But if I just bring them up a bit, you should be able to see. Oh no, I think because it's a separate pop-out window, you can't. But basically, I'm going to copy the clay, so the green area that's been selected. Hey there, Duffy, you right? You didn't miss much. Literally me just babbling on with the issues that I've been facing. And then what we're going to do is paste this as a new piece. So now when we hide the area below, we now have this top area to work with. So what I want to start looking at doing now is then cutting away and forming the shape for the connector. So let's have a little look. So I want to select clay, but now I want to select it by a lasso. So now we are going to come down and just start cutting all of this away. Okay, So you can see there we're cutting all the way through at the angle that we're drawing at. So we'll come around this way. So at the minute this is just kind of I call it a bit of a rough pass. Push it through the model, that's how far we're going to cut into it. And then I think we can just hit the delete key. Yeah, we can. So yeah, so oh. So there we go. So you can see there it didn't actually cut all the way through the model. So that there is because of the haptic feedback, in fact I'll be able to show you here. So if I just cut a little bit around here. Oh. Okay. And then you can see where I'm pushing to through the model will then select that level of the clay. So there you can see I've only cut up to a certain position. I can then just whack delete and it will just then cut that element of it quite nicely. Okay. This takes me some time, so I wouldn't be too worried. Like I say, I'm not a digital sculptor or anything. Oh, that's what happens when you press the release the button too quick. So away we go through and delete. And it's just basically rinse and repeat. Oh. Okay. So we're just going to take this round quite happily. So I hope you're all doing well, keeping safe. So it takes more concentration than you ever normally think with this. I will include that aerial. Okay, so that's kind of it roughed out a bit. In fact, we'll get an angle down this way to take some of this off. Oh, okay. We'll just escape that one to remove the selected area. Bring that one through. Select that and get that one deleted. So yeah, so it's quite nice and fun to do. I find it quite relaxing. So now what we want to be doing is smoothing the area off. So I'm also just going to cut a little bit of this bottom area off because I don't think we need a plug that's that deep. So there we go. Whack that part off. So that's where we're at now, is we've got something looking like this. So this is where it kind of gets a bit back and forth. So I'm just going to grab the smooth tool and let's increase this tool up. And away we go. So this is now just grabbing the clay and smoothing it out quite nicely. If you imagine the thing with this application is it's like working with real clay. So at this point here, if you imagine, well, not that I've ever worked with real clay, this is Sculpt, Geomagic Sculpt. There we go. So work this part in. So these models were originally sculpted by Rob McFarlane, absolutely A1 sculptor, and a good mate. He did a sterling job, and so I'm just going back now and making the edits to make these models fit the range as it's going forward. As I say, we're looking to take the heads off the models. If you saw the stream last week, in fact the week before that, I think actually as well, the first stream, of how the IDF models are going to be, then it's going to work quite nicely with these as well. So instead of the 3 different British packs with the different helmets, you'll get a single pack but with all 3 helmet options inside it. So that's what I'm working toward with this. Okay, I can bring this on down. Not too worried about these little straggly bits because we can just remove those very, very quickly. Okay. So we are looking good there. Quite happy with that at the minute. Okay, so we've got the rough part of the head now removed off. So what I'm going to do is just get rid of those little straggly bits. So we just do that with the select tool. Where's the shell? It's the seed. So then we just select that, invert it, delete, and then that just takes away all the additional parts there. So now what we're going to do is, if I just bring back the original model, so you'll see where it overlays onto each other. And so all we're going to do is just do a nice quick boolean, and in fact we're just going to duplicate this. It always helps to duplicate your stuff. So we'll make that the active piece, boolean, remove from, and then subclay tool. And then what we should then get left with after we then hide that piece is the void. So now we've got the void of where the head will fit within this. So it's just going in, neatening it up, and then having a little look and seeing what else needs to be done to get this to fit. Because obviously what we don't want is, well, kind of like in this area where there's a bit of an undercut, so it'd be hard to get the head in. So we'll smooth that out, or I think we could use, yeah, we'll just smooth that out. And then just see where we go from there. So yeah, there's pretty much 2 tools that we use in this: select clay and smooth. Okay, so this is just going to obviously remove those sharp edges, and we're just going to bring this on back. One of the things that gets missed quite a bit, and in fact Rob has taught me this over the years of miniatures, is that how people can get a bit carried away with models, because, you know, I mean, I'm here with a 27-inch monitor, and, you know, details here look, you know, kind of very well, not plain, but they never look great. But it's then when you obviously zoom out, and I'm sure some of you who are watching, you know, that's what the model will kind of actually look like, and they look absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it can be quite deceptive and a little bit weird at times, you know, working on models or even seeing models in this form if it's something that you've not, you know, had before. Okay. So I think we'll just grab a bit of that. And then this should just enable us to smooth this area out a bit quite nicely. Okay. Yep. So again, we go for the non-destructive method of doing this. So we will duplicate our original model. So we've got the head back. We'll then activate this boolean remove from that piece. I think some windows aren't showing up. And just like that, there we go. We should have the head left again, and this time you'll see on the bottom it's, you know, much smoother there. We still get the jaggedy edge because there's still an overlap on the resolution of it. All right, and then that's basically it here. So we just smooth these edges off. Lee, no, there won't be posable heads. They will be fixed to each model. This was chosen because when having posable heads, they can end up looking a bit odd. So these are integrated into the model design. Okay. Don't think the stream will end up being too long tonight, and the reason for that is to actually stream this I've had to shut my window, turn off the fan, and have my computer basically cooking me alive. So I'm sweating quite a bit already. So there we go. I think what we can come and do is, in fact, we can carve that part out. So let's just grab this, get it a little bit smaller. So what you can't see me actually doing is using the haptic. One of the things with this is I can actually feel this clay. So you can see the resistance of me pressing on it. So on the actual device, you know, I feel that force feedback, and as I follow it down, it dips in. And so you can see I'm pushing quite hard here, and as I move down the clay, it will just drop. And that's, you know, the pressure that's being put on this. So yeah, it works really nice. Alright, wasn't quite meant to do that, so we'll get rid of those. Okay, so I'm just going to take this area out here. So don't worry about it looking rough, because again, this is where we can come in and use the old smooth tool and bring this back. Okay, there we go. So yeah, again, Rob did an absolutely outstanding job on these models. I love them. Okay, so I think we are looking good there. That should line up pretty well with the with the torso to have that lined up and ready. So what I'll also be doing with these for a bit of for production basically is we will look to take the weapon off the model as well, so it'll be split at the hands. So I think what I'll end up doing is putting a split line along here and then probably just going straight up the weapon here, so all the way up and across, and then again take it off at the hand here. At the hand here I think should work quite nicely. Okay, so that's that part of it done. What we'll do next is I will bring in the next version of the model, which I think is the para helmet. Yeah, so again you can see the difference here with the clay colour appearing as a kind of ivory. I don't know what colour that is. If someone wants to think what colour that is, I'm having a brain fart with colour. But yeah, Mesh imports as purple colour. So what we'll do is we will get that converted over to clay. So it will ask me what density I want. So that one's 0.025 and apply. And that will be converted, and there we go. So now we've got both models lined up next to each other. Yeah, Ellie. Well, I think I actually have that colour. So, but yeah, I haven't painted for a long time, so I'll take your word for it. You've got a better opinion on it than me. I saw the painting that you'd been doing, so yeah. I don't think the application's impacting the computer too much, and I kind of hope not. I've got quite a powerful workstation, so yeah, hopefully it's holding up to the task quite well. Last week was I replayed the stream to have a look how it all went, and it was very kind of stuttery. And it turns out that my encoder settings in the streaming software were wrong basically, and I had not done the encoding on my GPU. So my CPU was, heading up to kind of 90% usage, which is not great. So this time I've got it running off the graphics card, which is the way that it kind of should be. So yeah, so that CPU usage isn't hit. Okay, so what we're going to do now is look to get these two parts lined up, and then I say it's quite a simple process from there, but we can just do a few little cheat bits. So I need to find the tool I'm looking for. That's the one. I am trialing a application called Wirecast. It's pretty good, but it has some flaws. So I'm not going to end up getting it. It's it been causing some problems because I do actually have a couple of. If you're into streaming, I don't know, if you know what I'm going to be talking about, but I have a couple of Stream Decks which I use for kind of shortcuts and stuff on the computer. I didn't originally buy them for streaming. It just happens to be that now I am doing some streaming, they become very useful for that. But it has a bit of a bug that whenever I've created transition scenes. So like when I go from the starting scene through to like my webcam, or now through to the Sculpt program, it keeps dropping the link in the program, and so each and every time I then have to reset it, and it becomes quite tedious because at times you then like look to get the 5 different scenes that you've got set up done, and you go to do the 5th one and the first one drops, and there's no reason why. Like, it's so bizarre. It's an infuriating bug. And because on the Stream Deck the buttons do multiple things, like, so when the stream starts, it will change the transition scene, it will lower the volume, it will turn the microphone on, you know, it all does multiple things in one kind of hit. It becomes very infuriating when that doesn't work, because then I'd have to do everything manually, which would be, well, a bit emotional. Okay. Yeah, it really is. So I'm going to a hardware solution basically, and that's just going to be, you know, infinitely better. So yeah, software can just be such a drama. I mean, I've had it crash a couple of times as well, just for kind of no reason, which when you're live streaming obviously isn't a great thing to happen. Okay. So now they'll probably go a little bit wonky. Yeah. Let's see what it does. Computer's thinking. This is where the computational power... Okay, that didn't quite work. Let's go back. This is where the fun and games all comes in. And in fact, I think I want to do it the other way round. So I want this one to move over to this one. Yeah, so I've ordered some hardware to look to sort this, which I'm really looking forward to. Basically, takes everything off the computer and just allows a little bit more stability on the stream. So all I'm doing at the minute is just putting down some location references, because what I'm going to do is ping these two models together, and it's going to use these points as reference. The part that I just tried, well, you probably saw it went a little bit skew with. So the target of this is going to be this lower body part. So yeah, so overall it should improve the quality of the stream and reliability and everything. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having that up and running and going. So spending a little bit of money to do it, but well, that's what we've got to do in the world. But yeah, we'll be pretty darn good. What is it that you do, Scott? There we go, that's better. So that then now aligns those nicely. And now then that should look at the rest of the geometry and put it over and in place nicely. There we go. So, yep, there we go. So now this is where it gets like a little bit easier. So now we've got the para here now as well, and that body. So if we now just look to go, hang on, I just need to move this over so I get a little window of the different parts. Should have really renamed them, but well. Okay. So let's take the scrim helmet away because we don't need that. Let's activate the main body. Oh, that's why I need to change that. There we go. Okay, so let's activate the main body. Take that head away. And so now you'll see that where we're going to take away the head, well, sorry, the body from the para. So if we now go, let's just duplicate. In fact, we don't need to duplicate the para because he is, no we will because we've moved him. It would be a bit, okay. And then let's get that one removed. There we go. So now we should just be left with the head. So you'll see a lot of these stray bits of clay. That's just where the model obviously crosses over. And again, they're easy to get rid of. So yeah, we're now looking at the para helmet. Right, it's just a case of getting this a little bit smoothed out again. Yeah, so this is basically it. It's a little bit of rinse and repeat, kind of over and over again. I don't mind it all too much. Just takes time. Okay, we'll open this area up. So that's where it was connected near the model. I can just smooth this area out nicely. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Right, you might see when I'm trying to rotate around this piece, it's rotating me around the center of mass here, and that's because of all this stray clay. So what I'm actually going to do is we'll get rid of that now because that is going to get a little bit annoying. So we'll select the head. I think we just got to move up and over to it. Okay, and then we can then invert it and delete. So that'll get rid of all those stray bits of clay. And now when I'm rotating around, you see I'm just going around the head nicely, which is a lot easier to work with. Okay. That's it. Just take these sharp edges back. Yeah, I think I'm going to be promoting the YouTube a bit more because I think it has a higher streaming quality on it. So I'm actually streaming out at 1080p 60 frames per second. So yeah, hopefully I can utilize that best. And I think, unless I'm mistaken, that Facebook compresses streams down to 720p. Okay, so there we go. So we've now got the para helmet ready there as well, which is pretty good. In fact, I'm just going to open this area up again. Just cut through it like so. Back to the old smooth tool. Like magic. There we go. Perfect. In fact, we can just take that back a smidgen more. Okay. There we go. Happy with that. So yeah, so now we've got the body. In fact, that one's not the finished body, was it? Oh yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think I've just got to get rid of those stray little bits of clay though. So again, we just activate it, select it, invert the selection and delete it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we can now switch between the para and the Mark 6 helmet quite nicely there. Okay. So yeah, if you've got any burning questions, then please feel free to ask away. Alright, I think we'll get the last helmet done on this, and then I'll probably end it there, because as I say, it is baking hot in here. It's pretty much unbearably hot. I mean, yesterday was yeah, very emotional. Alright, so let's get the next one in. So this is old Scrim Boy. Okay, get that one over to Clay as well. What's you'll have to explain what an FMP is. I have no idea. Final something? I guess it's to do with a course. Yeah, I should have really lined these up before doing all of this. That would have been a very wise thing to have done. Very, very wise. I mean, you can just use the move tool if so wished to look to line it up. But yeah, you might just be out by you know, a little bit. So yeah, you could just look to eyeball it like that. But what we're going to do is like we did last time. Oh, okay, final project. Nice. What did you end up treating yourself to? Okay, there we go. So let's apply those two so they're nice and close. Oh, no. I think earlier today when I checked, it was like nearly 31 degrees in this room. Oh, nice. Yeah. I saw that one not coming in. I just wondered, if you've been purchasing anything else. But yeah, Spectre sound. Spectre, yeah. The old Stephen over at Spectre is a top chap. Okay. Right, that's that bit done. Oh man, it's emotional. I mean, I do not deal well with heat, and part of me thinks it's so hard to believe that when I was in the army, well, that's what I was just coming on to, Stuart, was it was like 50 degrees on the hottest like days. You're in 50 degrees, but it's a different kind of heat. It's a very, very dry heat, to the point that, when you're just in your combats, you don't sweat because it just evaporates immediately. Obviously, layer yourself up with body armor and your kit. You sweat underneath it, but you literally, when you get back to base and you take it off, you're dry within minutes. It's just totally different. Whereas here, it's just a muggy heat. And in fact, I can't remember, there's a name for it, and it's when the winds, instead of coming off from the kind of north and northwest direction, they sweep up from the south and come off the Gulf. And it brings with it all the moisture, and it literally gets as humid as like a jungle. It's absolutely emotional, and I really struggled during that period. So yeah, I don't do well in this kind of muggy heat. My perfect temperature is like 18 degrees. I love it. Not too hot, not too cold. Perfect. So yeah, I think one thing I need to have in my life is air conditioning. I think that's the the next thing to be looking at. Okay, so let's use this to remove from this clay, just to leave the scrim head. Has that done it, or have we done it the wrong way around? Oh, no. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Oh, I've got a fan up here. Yeah, I mean, I'm chilling out in my man cave at the minute. Well, I say chilling, I'm baking in my man cave. And I've got a skylight, and I've literally got a fan attached to the skylight just to blow the air in. But obviously, streaming, I can't have the fan on, and certainly can't have the window open. So yeah, it gets a little bit emotional. And then obviously the graphics card is ramping up to full temperature. CPU's thrashing it, so that's just pouring heat into the room. That must be at 50, 60 degrees. So that just constantly heating up this room. Ugh. That's why I don't think it's going to be a too long a stream tonight. Just because I don't think I'll be able to take it. Yeah, I think because mine's an attic room, you then got the window south facing as well. So even if I put the blind down, the majority of the heat just literally comes through the roof. I don't think it's that amazingly insulated, to be fair. It's too emotional for me. A good job I wasn't streaming yesterday. That was just too much. I couldn't be upstairs to do any work, and this is the impact that it can then have on things, is it just can't work. So yeah, there's... Oh, this is quite therapeutic. Just transforming some clay quite happily. So again, you know, like these little rough patches, you know, they don't look great there, but you're never going to see them. Like, I could smooth these out, but it's really not going to make a difference on the, you know, the finished piece. I'm just getting rid of these jaggedy edges. Okay. Oh yeah, Stuart, I saw your question in the Courage in Contact group of the chap, see if I knew him. No, I didn't. I did end up like Googling him and saw that he became an MP, but I've no idea who he was. From what I read on Wikipedia, though, he was in the Royal Artillery, which is not what I was. I was Royal Anglian Regiment, which is an infantry unit. Which, funnily enough, when... No. This isn't. I'm not modelling. I don't even want to try and pass it off that I am modelling or sculpting a miniature. This is just kind of picked up self-taught and you know, just through playing about. All I'm doing is chopping a model up. So the sculptor for the Courage in Contact models is a chap called Rob McFarlane. Whereas these are just some edits that we've spoke about, and so I said that I will, you know, look to take it on hand to do them, and just because, well, he's kind of so busy that I don't want to take up, you know, kind of too much of his time with this kind of thing. So I just piddled about and played, and you know, just to get it kind of working. It's good. I do kind of enjoy it. It's quite therapeutic. Just not when you're sat in a room that's, you know, probably 30 degrees odd. There we go. I think that's looking good there. So again, let's just invert the clay and delete those little nasty bits. There we go. Oh, nice. Yeah. What was it? Did you have a trade in the Royal Engineers, or? Oh, I don't know when you were in, but yeah, part of me like wishes, looking back on things, that I'd done something like REME or something and come out with some qualifications. Unfortunately, you know, with the infantry, wasn't much in the sense of qualifications that I came out with. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, isn't it? I think you're just gonna have to like just put it on a bucket of water or something. Just put the parchment sheet on some bucket of water and just rock on with that. Yeah, I couldn't see even paints lasting long on one of them. I should just like start working through the night, I think. You know, start working at... Oh, nice. There we go. Fisticuffs with the Ruskies if it all went a bit too weary. Okay. So there we go. We now have this little dude prepped and ready. So just to, you know, be of note, this is model 1 of 28 in the platoon. So yeah, there's a bit of a way to go with all of this. Oh, Stuart, I tell you what, grab yourself a wet palette. I mean, try one out first. There are some, if you just Google DIY wet palette or cheap wet palette or whatever, there are some methods of making one for practically nothing. And they're amazing. They are literally fantastic if you're looking to do any kind of blending, or even just keep your paints lasting a bit longer, because it just keeps your paints moist essentially. I tell you, I have a laugh at the times. I think back to when I was in the army and the amount of drinking. Oh yeah, the red grass one is pretty spot on. Really do like that. I just got it because it was convenient, so yeah, just grabbed that and ordered it. Yeah, although some people say to use like blister pack foam. So in fact, actually, Stuart, you got some of my models, and I'm pretty sure you've got some that came in the new cardboard packaging. Well, that comes with some foam. So just grab that, and then just grab some parchment paper. I think it's not greaseproof paper, is it? I think it's cooking parchment at the supermarket, because I think that obviously greaseproof paper stops the water coming all the way through. I think I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a couple of years since I had to go with a kind of DIY one. But yeah, there are methods to it, and it definitely is worth it. A paid solution is, well, if you just want that convenience, then kind of rock on and do that. But yeah, really, really good. And yeah, I would recommend the red grass one. I certainly do like that. Oh, okay, so it is just... Is it parchment or greaseproof paper? Okay. So I think you're going to be happy to see this model, Stuart. Because this is one of the patrol sacks. And this is what I've been waiting for with this as well, for the kind of release of them, is to enable the head version of this too. So I've got a bit of fun to because then that way they both share the same heads. So while the bodies are different, the heads are all the same, of the same fitting and everything like that. So it makes it quite nice and straightforward, really. So yeah, just having a little play around. But what we can do with this now is, because so this is the scrim dude, so we can actually just grab the scrim head and then just basically subtract that from this body, and then all the other heads should then fit the same body. That's part of the kind of joy of putting this together. Oh god, it's so hot. I think next time I'm gonna link up a thermometer, so just up here on the edge of my webcam, you can see how hot this is. I've got lights bearing down at me, so there's a couple of lights up on the sides as well to illuminate me. Okay, so let's get this guy put into a bit of clay. No, they're not new sculpts per se. They are... Hold on, let me just get this bit done. So they're basically the same pose. So you'll see it's the same pose, but they will have the patrol day sacks, and then obviously the shoulder pads coming up and over and round. One of the reasons, because I was asked a while back, why don't you just make them kind of stick on? And well, the main reason is the shoulder pad strap. It looks so weird to have it coming over and around. I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if, let's say for example it was attached to the body armor. You could probably look to get away with that. So they're not new sculpts, but they're not released yet, and they've been held back because of this, because I wanted to change the format of them. So it didn't make sense to put these all the way through production to then only go back and have to change then twice as much. So yeah, just doing this, and then once all this is done and prepped, then they'll all get kind of released together. So the British will move over to this format for the dismounts of the vehicles, and at the same time, well, I say the same time, but soon after, then the footbods will be coming out. Okay, so let's get this dude alongside those ones. So yeah, I was also streaming to Twitch, but I don't really think there's much point to it, to be fair. Twitch seems to be more for the kind of gaming. I think if I do get to do some gaming in the future, then yeah, maybe I'll jump onto Twitch for that. But well, I can tell you what was carried in the day sacks when I was in. It all just depends on what the SOPs are for the for the probably company or platoon, or however the SOPs are formatted, standard operating procedures, for anyone that isn't from the army or know what that means. But when I was there, we basically had camel packs located in them, with, just trying to think how big it was either 3 or 5 litres of water available, and then it would also have ECM to be carried out on patrol as well, along with spare batteries. So they'd be calculated upon how long the patrol would be as to how many batteries you would carry. Just trying to think how many. There was 3 pieces of ECM. And so it was a little bit different when I was in Iraq. A platoon got split down into 2 multiples. So instead of being 3 sections of 8 men, you had 2 multiples of 12 men. One was led by the sergeant, the other one by the platoon commander. And then within that, you would then have 3 pieces of ECM. I always try to remember what the names were. One was called Chubb. And then there was, I can't remember. I can't remember what it was now. That really annoys me, what the other 2 were. So between I'm just trying to think how many ECM we had. You'd then carry spare ammo for the GPMG. So that would probably be like 200 rounds. You'd have your own bandolier of additional ammo, although to be fair, we generally kept that in a side pouch, and then that was it really. You'd have a basher there as well. There's a makeshift like stretcher or shelter if you needed it. Because I was also trained as the team medic, so I was one of the platoon's medics at platoon level. I would also then carry a platoon medic pouch as well, which it's like a rocket pouch for the Bergen size that you would just attach on. So my day sack was had the ability to have like rocket pouches attached to the sides of it, so then I could obviously have an extra pouch, and then also on the other side my med pouch for the multiple. But yeah, it was hot. I mean, if you want, I can pop some more photos up on the Courage in Contact group for you to have a look at. But yeah, it was real emotional. In fact, I've got quite a good photo of me with like ECM and everything on, just outside Basra port, where we did a patrol down to the port on foot. It was actually the first foot patrol we'd ever done, and it was just slow going. Like, if we'd have come under contact in those conditions, I couldn't have even imagined it. I honestly couldn't have even imagined, like, it's not like when we were driving around in the snatch Land Rovers and, you know, just kind of rocking about in those. But yeah, couldn't have reacted to some shots very well with all that equipment on. I mean, I must have been carrying more than my own body weight. I was only, how old was I on my, because that was my second tour of Iraq. So I was 22, so a young whippersnapper, and yeah, just funny as. So, well, I'll give you a little bit of the history of where I was. So, did my training. I was on one of the first what's called a CIC Combat Infantry course held at Catterick, which was 6 months of grueling, entertaining fun. In fact, there was a show I watched the other day. I think it was on Netflix, or was it Amazon? I can't remember. But it's called Paraplatoon, and it follows some recruits through the para course. And the para course is very similar to the combat infantry course. There's just a few things that they do in addition, which is the trapezium, which is the high rise test, where they've got to be 60 foot up in the air and jump between obstacles and things like that. And they also do some different physical parts. One of them is called milling, which is basically, it's a test of just kind of keep going even in like the face of adversity, so that you just keep fighting and keep fighting and fighting. And yeah, it's quite an interesting one, to be fair. And they do that like kind of in addition, but everything that I went through, like bayonet training, going into the gas chamber with CS gas, doing all the tabs, the shoots, all that kind of stuff was kind of as I had and did it. And the locker inspections, oh my god, they were so funny. I literally, like, the funniest times in the world was locker inspections. And we had this trainer called what was his name? We're Corporal Vickers. He was our platoon, our section commander. And what was it? Corporal Roberts, that's it. And he was comedy. He was absolutely comedy. He had this really like deep set voice, and just whenever he came in the room and he would like pick on someone to like go through their locker and just tear it apart, it was amazing. It was literally, you couldn't keep a straight face, and you just wished that you could kind of remove the smirk on your face before he came round and looked at you, because if he caught you smirking, that was it. You were in the firing line next. He was gunning for you, and your kit would go out the window. Yeah, I can imagine. I don't know, like, when that kind of changed over. I mean, we had battalion boxing, we had things like that, but actually in training, we didn't do milling, which a bit of a shame. I would have enjoyed to kind of do that. Okay, so you'll see that the pose is slightly different with it, because is a little bit hunched, and things have moved around a little bit to accommodate. So you'll see, like with his PRR radio, is moved over to make way for the strap. Obviously makes a sense. So we'll have a look. We'll see what happens. Okay. Right, so we want to get the old scrim head. Let's grab that and then go boolean remove from, and that one. Okay, so here we go. Let's just get rid of that one as well. Nice. So basically there now we've got the void for where this will link through into. So we'll get that cleaned up. Invert that. Invert and delete those little scraggly bits. Hey Simon, thanks for joining. Okay, yeah, let's get this part smoothed back as well. So yeah, what we want to do is remove this ridge line here, so that the head can slot in quite easily and straightforward. Yeah, they've been on the table for a while, to be fair, Stuart. It's one that I would have, liked to have released sooner, but with all the kind of changes to the model, they just had to wait. So I'm getting a bit of time now to come back and apply these edits to make them work together. So you'll see the advantage of this in a minute. Okay. Alright, we're just neaten up down here. So at times it makes it look like I'm doing, kind of big changes to it, but like I say, in reality, this model was like, well, I don't know what size your monitor is, but on my monitor, the real size model is like this. You're not going to see anything kind of there. Okay, lovely stuff. I think we'll just take this back a little. Alright, let's just bring the head back on. Oh, not that one. There we go. There you go, you see. So now you can see the para fitting in the same gap. So now we can have either or the different heads there quite nicely to be swapped out quite easily. Yeah, super happy with that. So basically we've got the ability to have, I should have renamed these because I've got a big long list of parts and I can't remember which one's which. So we've got the ability now to have either normal dude or heading onto the backpack nice and easily. It's just super good. Super happy with all that. Okay, well, I think I am gonna call it there for the evening. It's far too hot for me here to keep the stream kind of going. So I'm gonna call it there. But yeah, hopefully on the next stream. Will it be the next stream next week? No, I'll probably be in the same setup, but hopefully it's a bit cooler so I can kind of last a bit longer. If not, then I'll just do an hour. But I think what we'll do is we'll take the weapon off. So we'll get this removed and cleaned up, and then we'll add some little locator plugs to the hands, so that obviously there's a little lining up mechanisms in there as well, which will work out quite nice. And then that will be model 1 finished, and then I'll look to obviously do some. I think this might be the kind of streaming stuff I do, to be fair. It means I can get on with work while also doing some streaming, and then get some nice hobby projects going as well, because I've got a plan to build a board or elements of a board, so I want to get that on the stream as well. So I've got some cool 3D printed Afghan houses to sort, and I'm going to be using the Sarissa terrain tiles to create a nice kind of modular board, which I'm really I'm just really excited about kind of having and doing. So really good. Yeah, no, Scott, I'll have your stuff out tomorrow. I'm off down to the unit, so yeah, you'll have them very soon, and I hope you really like them. As I say, that this is the first kind of computer stream I've done, like this. So in the future, we'll see, what improvements can be made, what changes, and kind of go from there. So yeah, I've enjoyed it though. So yeah, next week we will come back and we'll look at removing the weapon. So brilliant. Well, take care all during this time. Thank you very much for joining me, and yeah, hope I've had a bit of a informative session of my past. Like, again, if you've got any questions, I don't mind talking about all my my old military service or just life in general. So yeah, fire away. I think one thing that the kind of company's been missing a bit is that kind of I say personal touch, but it always seems so very corporate on the front of things, because there always seems to be a very kind of not a corporate look, but a very, well, I like to think of it anyway, a professional look, and people think the company is a bigger entity than it is, and it's actually just me kind of doing everything. So yeah, it's just kind of nice to interact with my kind of community a bit more, and let them know that it is just me, and you can get to know me if you really so wish to. So yeah, no, thank you very much for popping along, and I will see you next week, 8:30. I will start the stream again, and we will carry on with this little project. So yeah, have a good evening, stay safe, and pleasure talking to you all. Yeah, no, thank you, Scott. I spent quite a bit of time getting it all prepped and ready. There's some more things. I'll talk about them next time, because like I say, I do want to come away from the computer because I'm sweating a bit too much. But yeah, we'll have a little chat about things, and yeah, ask questions away. So okay, well, have a good one. See you later.